And boom, we are back, folks. Hey, everybody, it's Mark Hill here with the segment podcast and live stream. On tonight's live stream, you might recognize my guests that are here with me today. They were also on the episode that we did out at Velocity with Blake and Eric about riding blind. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good to see you guys. Thank you both for being on the show tonight. This is awesome. I wanted to say I was super impressed, really inspired and motivated by riding with you that day. And I even go back and I look at that video of us out there at Vail, and I'm just like, I'm blown away on our riding that day. It was awesome. I don't know. I didn't know what to expect, but I walked away being completely inspired by you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I think we impressed ourselves too. Wouldn't you say, Eric? You were pushing us pretty quick.
We went for it. It was good.
It was so much fun. For the purpose of folks that are watching the show, and for the folks that may not have had a chance yet to watch the YouTube video, Riding Blind with Blake and Eric, would you guys mind just introducing yourselves to the folks out there?
Yeah, for sure. Just real quick. We'll dive more into my story later, but yeah, my name is Blake and I'm visually impaired and I love mountain biking. And despite going through my vision loss, I've been able to figure out how to continue riding by using a guide that talks me through the trail. And Eric has just been a close friend where we've really gotten to figure out that process, and excited to share that more with others on this podcast.
Yeah, so my name's Eric. I was kind of getting into mountain biking, and I knew Blake was into it, and he was going through his vision loss. So he's like, "Hey, dude, you gotta help me get down the trail." So that's how this whole thing started. Was just like Blake, was like, "I want to keep riding, and I need somebody to help me do it." Pretty much. So yeah, I'm stoked to have been doing that for Blake, and it's been an awesome journey for both of us.
Yeah, man, I gotta say, you guys are impressive. You guys created your own language when it comes to riding down the trails, which is very cool to hear, and then very cool to see how you both react to what you're saying. Both of you guys are out of college now, right?
Yeah.
You're out of college now, and you guys met, though. This was like before college. You guys were in high school when you guys met?
Yeah. Yeah, we had like PE together, and I guess Eric was a pretty cool kid. We kind of were friends then, and just more became friends through church and our high school youth group there. And just since college, I feel like became better friends, even more so. If you would agree, Eric.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that is awesome.
Yeah, I would say Eric got less into golfing and more into biking, which was a good change.
Yeah. Now, Eric, did you guys start mountain biking at the same time, or Blake, were you a hardcore mountain biker and you got Eric into it?
Yeah, so I was looking for a new little hobby, I guess, because I was over my golf days, and so I'd always seen Blake mountain biking, and I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I used to do like skateboarding and stuff, and I wanted something a little dangerous, So I was like, all right, let's do mountain biking. This sounds fun. And so I hit up Blake, and it just happened to be like pretty close to the beginning of his vision loss. Like he was still seeing pretty well, like at that time. So, yeah, there was like this transition of where he wanted me to be guiding him, but he was just still a way better rider than me. So it was like, Blake's like, Eric, like, come on, you need to know, like, all right, which line are we taking? Like, let me know when there's a big rock and we have to avoid it. Like, let me know all this stuff. Like, are we taking the inside or whatever? And I'm just like, dude, I'm like holding on to my handlebars for dear life, like just trying to get down this trail. Like, I don't know about all this guiding stuff. So it was like a funny process for me because I was like learning mountain biking, but then also trying to just explain everything back to Blake. So that was super cool. And it was fun when, he's like on my back tire, like pushing me, but I'm supposed to be the one guiding him. It was a funny scene, like probably, but yeah, no, the learning over time has been cool though. Like it's been a process for sure. So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Blake, tell us a little bit about, so you guys are in high school, you're buddies. You pull Eric into riding mountain bikes with you and help get him off the golf course, and you're pushing him to help guide you down the mountain. How did you guys did you guys just create your own language just naturally by spending time with each other and trying to navigate the different trails?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was just like such a process for sure. And if it's cool, I'll try to just give some backstory on like what led me to where I'm at, to like my vision loss and whatnot, if that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, please.
Yeah, just like give context there, because like for me, like Eric got into it as my vision loss started to happen, and but like I grew up just like playing so many different sports, and like loved riding bikes, and it was always just such a hobby to grow up riding bikes around the neighborhood, digging dirt jumps, and then playing airsoft, and just like so much of the life was around riding bikes, in terms of like free time. And then as I got older and kind of later into middle school, I got like a Trek. It's like a Trek 3500, I think, just like a pretty simple entry level Trek hardtail. Like my brother got one because he needed it to ride to high school, and I was like, I want one too. And then just really kind of took off with my friend Joe. Like we both just had our hardtails, and we were just started ripping down trails, and like just pushing those bikes to their limits, and like really just like kind of destroying those bikes. But I think that's the best way to learn, is on a hardtail. And I was getting more and more into it. And then in my junior year of high school, like the beginning of the year, I just started to notice vision loss in one of my eyes. And I would just like, thought nothing of it, but then just decided to go to the doctor to get it checked out. And then they did some tests, and they got your optic nerve swollen, and we don't know why, but they just wanted to figure out what was the reason. So throughout these next couple months, like I was tested for so many just crazy different conditions. I really like was unsure of my future with riding, just with conditions like, it was it a brain tumor, multiple sclerosis, like neurological conditions. Like, they said it's probably going to go away, but I was like, I don't know. I feel like this is something. And then in this process, I'm like, well, like I just want to ride my bike as much as I can. And then I wanted to, make that transition to a full suspension, and ended up like getting a specialized enduro. And like, I remember when my mom and I like bought the bike, like we went together to get it, like it was pretty emotional because like this new passion that I was like gaining like just more and more, was just like, dang, like what's going on like with my health. And but just being like, let's just get this, because we're not sure what's all going to happen. And then like soon after that, I was like, I don't know, my timeline here might be a little wishy-washy, but soon after that, I was diagnosed with my condition I have, which is called Lebers Hereditary Optic Neuropathy, or LHON for short. And from there, like I was hit with the news of like, just basically I would lose vision in both eyes, lose all my central vision, and become legally blind. I could unpack that more later, but more just want to hit on like just that shock in the moment of like, what the heck, like,
Yeah.
how am I going to be able to ride my bike again? Think through other things. How am I going to play sports like hockey? How can I keep up in school, go to college, get a job, get married? Like all these things you used to kind of question logistically. And I had a couple months before my other eye got involved and started having vision loss. And I was like, man, like I just want to be grateful that I can ride, and just tried to ride as much as I can. And then when my vision loss did happen in both eyes, I tried to like ride as much as I could on my own, until like one day when my vision got, I guess, to a worse enough point to where I was riding down the trail to try to take the line I was used to, but there was a big rock in the way, and I hit the rock, went over the bars, and like landed on my shoulder and head, got a concussion, and like sat there on the trail and just like sobbed.
Man.
It was just like, it was super heavy. And like for concussion symptoms, I knew from having concussions before, like your vision gets blurry. So I was like, man, did I just knock out a ton of my vision? And I was like, distraught. Like, I can't ride the way that I used to before. And then it was like, dang, I got to start learning how to ride with a guide. and then just slowly, we can dive more into that process of riding with a guide. But I think I was still like unsure, like, I don't know if I can still do this or keep up with it. And it's kind of funny. The summer before, I guess, my senior year of high school, when my vision was progressing worse in both eyes, we did a family trip to British Columbia, Canada, and Whistler was one of the places we got to go with my family. And I remember just talking to my mom, being like, I don't know, I don't think I could ride the bike park or trails up there. Like, and then she was just super encouraging, and other friends, like friend Ryan, and like, just really so encouraging, like, no, you can do it. There's going to be people that can help you. Just go for it. And I was like, I don't know. And I did it. And I was like, it was one of the coolest days of riding, and showed me like, I can keep up with this. And I feel like that, kind of helped me to progress to where I was today. And the last really quick note, when my vision was progressing in one eye, like I did a race at Vail with one of my friends. And I remember it was like funny. I'm like riding out there talking to someone, and they're like, man, like, you're gonna have to come back out in June. Or whatever. I don't know why. I think it was June. And I was like, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. And in my head, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to be riding my bike. And so it's like super special to be here and just kind of set off the process of like, creating that vocab, which is like the biggest like piece to it, which we can get back to that, but just wanted to kind of create more context there and share interesting nuggets that have really like shared a ton. So
yeah, I mean, that's incredible. That's heavy too. How old were you, Blake, when you started getting the LHON?
Yeah, so the whole like process was from like 16 was when it started. I had my license for a couple months, and then when I turned probably from 16 to like 17, 18 was like when the vision progressed, slowly lost all the central vision, got a big blind spot right in the middle, which basically leaves me with the only helpful vision I have when riding is like kind of seeing Eric's shape in front of me or whoever that is guiding me. And then it's pretty well plateaued, which I'm super thankful for. Like I won't lose all my vision. So it's nice to have like some stability there.
Yeah, definitely. And so the vision that you do get to keep, Blake, is peripheral, correct? Is that what you have? Okay. And explain to us again, how peripheral you were telling me backstage that peripheral, you think peripheral is good, but it's really a lot of your central vision that's filling in the gaps to allow you to have good peripheral vision. Is that right?
Right. Cause you never like, if my hand's a book, you don't read like a book like this, you look at it straight on. Our peripheral vision is kind of like good for like, it's definitely good for motion. Like you can tell contrast to things but you don't have like the sharp, clear acuity that you do in your central vision. And especially when you don't see your central vision of what everything looks like perfectly, you realize how bad things look on the side. And that just kind of reinforces the point to like, when I'm riding, I still have to actively remind myself, don't try to like think you can see the trail, like listen into what Eric's saying, and what he's like, what we're talking through, and like describing the trail,
Yeah, I definitely saw that firsthand. I really want to talk about that too, because that was really inspiring. But for those of us who don't know, I know there's all different types of blindness. What is defined as legally blind?
Yeah. So I used to think they were just like, you either like need glasses or you're blind and can't see anything. But legally blind is like visual acuity of 2200 or worse with best correction. So 2200 basically means what my acuity is like 2800, which would mean what you see at 800 feet, I see at 20 feet, which is a rough scale. And 2200 would be like the point at which you can't drive. And relative to 2200, like 800 being a much higher number is a lot worse. In terms of Paralympic classifications, Like there's like that, those classifications people might know too. Like I'm a B2. There's like B1, B2, and B3. B1 being worst, 3 the best. I'm like in the middle.
Wow.
But that's, yeah, super subjective stuff to
Wow.
try to like
No,
explain.
it does put color on it for us to understand,
Mhm.
what vision looks like for you. And I mean, just bombing down those trails like we were at that speed, it's just way more impressed now that I
Yeah.
really understand what you're looking through. And then so
Yeah. Cause
you're in high school. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, no, I'm just saying like, cause it's interesting. Like mountain biking is so visual in terms of like picking out the right line. And I think sometimes we undervalue our vision to pick the right line and realize, no, you can ride this trail if you see the right line. But we also, there's another point where there's so much I can control and do, and like my bike control and what I have. And sometimes people think like, how did you describe a trail? There's so much to it. And kind of to that point, like Eric, like I'm curious to hear what you would say, like to help me visualize the trail. Like, are you more explaining like what the trail looks like, or are you explaining what you're doing riding the trail? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's totally what I'm doing. Like, if I tried to say back to Blake, like, okay, there's a rock on the left and then a little rock on the right, or like, oh, there's, whatever 70-degree turn coming up and it's got whatever this type of slope. Like, no, it's like right side. Like, I'm just moving to that line and I'm going to tell Blake that I'm moving to the right side of the trail or the left side of the trail, or, we're tucking into a berm now or whatever it is. Yeah, so much more about like the action than just trying to explain everything. But then I feel like probably Blake gets like a huge sense of what like, it's always this reaction of like before and then after. Like we'll be going like over a drop or something, and I'll be like, okay, drop, and then it's like a little rock drop, right? We get down at the bottom, and then maybe Blake is like, whoa, dude, that was way gnarlier than I thought, based on like how I reacted, or like, oh, dude, that was a no-brainer. Like you made it seem like a big deal type of thing. So he always gets a sense of like what the trail is actually like after, when he rides over it. But then for me, I'm just trying to explain what I'm doing as best as I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like it's an interesting thing where it helps me now explain to like someone else if I ride with, or explain how it works, where it's like, there's no way you could explain to me what the trail looks like. But I don't, okay, to a degree, I don't have to know what the trail looks like. I just have to know how to react accordingly, which is like an interesting point. So yeah, I don't know. And it's a good point too, like where, like to your question earlier, like I feel like the vocab we've created is like just keeping it as like simple as possible, because sometimes like more is less. I don't know. What would you agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It,
Trying to get too much detail and too much, like, you only have so much time, for like the 10 feet in between us. So it's kind of quick and to the point, and then Blake's going to go over it and we'll see what happens, kind of thing. So.
Yeah.
yeah. I noticed, I mean, we're booking it down the trails, and Eric, you're saying exactly that. You're going left side, and I hear Blake repeating it, left side. And then if there's a turn, you'll say right turn, and then he'll say right turn out, meaning that I think what that meant is like you're telling Eric that you're a right turn and you're out now, right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how? And then when it comes to drops, I hear you go drop, ready, drop, or jump, like ready, jump, or it was like that timing, and I could see it working. And the other thing that I noticed following you guys is, Blake, it looks like you ride with your bike a little loose. Is that loose, meaning that I see the seat kind of between your legs, kind of moving back and forth, and it kind of almost looks like when the trail starts to move, your bike starts to react, and then it helps you read that a little better, or am I just making that up in my head?
No, I guess we're processing it together, because it's that funny thing where when we ride together, like I'll try to like take a video of Eric doing something, and then it's like he's not gonna watch me do something because I need him to do it. So it's like cool having that third person. But quickly to your point before, like yeah, it's definitely like relaying the information to Eric, so that Eric doesn't have to like turn around, like look behind him, and so that he can calculate his speed based on if Eric says right turn, and then he's on to the left turn. And if he's still saying left turn and I don't say I'm out of it, then hopefully Eric is thinking, okay, let me wait till I say I'm out of it and then say like, I'm good, I'm right on you. So then it's like, if I'm like, I'm on you, then he knows he can go faster because it's like trying to like keep that gap going decently. But then, yeah, but in terms of bike control, like, yeah, that makes sense because I feel like I just have to like react to everything, where I like just try to stay really loose and have good bike control. Keep my seat super low and just trying to control my bike. Let the suspension do its work, but I think we forget about the suspension that's in our arms and legs, and how much we can like control our bike through things. And when like it's hard sometimes, like I'll want to do like a really technical rocky section, and I'm like track standing as we go through it slowly, and then like it's probably hard for you, Eric, because then you have to like go slow on sections that are just easier going faster rolling through, which like it happened in our video. I get hung up on the rock garden because I like get bucked off the wrong line, but thankfully you were watching, so I was like, yeah, Mark's watching. I guess I'm fine to keep going down.
Yeah, it's like a little more left, and
yeah.
and then you were through it. And the other thing that you guys use a bell. So I mean, I'm getting the gist. You're using a lot of different senses. You're using the bell for sound, so you can kind of tell distance. I noticed when I was leading us out from the parking lot of Vail out to the trails, before I even yelled out, "We gotta climb," I heard I was shifting the gears, and I heard you say, "I heard your derailleur." So you're already shifting gears before I could even call it out, which I thought was really cool. But what did you guys discover about the bell? I know Eric Wright has the bell on when we're out there.
Yeah. At what point did we actually get a bell, Eric?
Yeah, it was later in the process, but it was more about like the distance, like if and it had to do with the stuff on the trail too. Like when I first started using it, Blake's like, when it's rocky, like that bell is just going crazy. So I know like, oh, okay, we got a rocky section coming. Or like if it's smooth, the bell is kind of just fine. And yeah, I think it helps him know like how far away I am. Like if it, you can hear kind of the sound of like, oh, maybe he's getting 20, 30 feet away and I need to like, go a little faster to keep up. So it was kind of like the proximity, but then also like the surface of the trail, what it's looking like and stuff like that.
That's interesting. Wow,
like
that's
interpret
very cool.
the sounds of the bell and bike.
Wow, that is very, very cool. Before we get too far in the show, just want to say we are definitely not alone. We got a great audience today. Trail dogs are in the house. What's up, boys? Good to see you guys. Lost Trail is on tonight. Joey Yates, Keith Hollins is out there. Has a couple questions for you guys already. We have MTV Rad Dad, and let's see who else. A couple questions here from Keith. Can you guys mind taking a couple questions from Keith real quick?
Sure.
Keith wants to know, so we all know that you guys met in high school, but I kind of said earlier that you guys kind of went away and went through college and are back now. How old are you guys now?
I'm 22.
22, 23. Look at that.
Okay.
And then another question is, how do you get over the fear of the unknown during writing?
Okay.
I'm gonna say something while you're thinking there, Blake.
Yeah,
so
it works for both of us for sure.
Yeah. People always ask me like the thing that I get is people say like, dude, like if Blake falls, like won't you feel really bad? Like, oh, if Blake gets like super hurt, like aren't you gonna feel super bad? And I'm like, well, I guess so, but like think about when Blake does really well, like look at when he's ripping it. Like, that's awesome. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what's the alternative, you know? Like, if I'm guiding him, that's awesome. If I don't, then he's going to find somebody else and he's going to rip some trails with someone else. Like, it's just a matter of, like, you know, the reward is worth the risk, I guess, is how I think about it. Like, Blake knows what he's getting into. He knows the risk, but he's like stoked to do super well and ride these cool trails that he never would be able to if he, you know, decided to not ride bikes anymore. So I don't know. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I feel like a huge thing that helps with you, Eric, is just being mellow. And like, if someone's guiding me and they're like reacting to something, like it freaks me out. Where like one time we were at Ted Williams in Poway, and Eric was behind me, another friend was guiding in front of me, and like we come up to this drop, and I hear my friend Jeff in front of me, like slight hesitation in his voice, but like he's like, he knows that I can do it. And then Eric behind me is like, he just is like, whoa, like just like started to like react to it. And I ride this drop, and I was like, made it down totally fine, made the turn at the bottom, and I was like, dang, what the heck, like that was big. And then we go back, I was like, I'm gonna look at that again, and I like hike up this big rock, and then I tried to do it again, and I like drop it and like slam into the bushes on the side, because I knew what I was getting myself into. And sometimes like having it be unknown is not as scary, because I don't know what it is. Not in like this, I'm just oblivious, but like I'm just trusting my skills and the person in front of me that knows I could do it. So I don't have to like see it and psych myself out. I just like trust the person in front of me. But you also just learn the process of like crashing a lot, which isn't fun, but like it's just part of the process too. But yeah.
Yeah. I heard you say that before too, is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but it's washed out by the passion. The passion's the fuel to get you back out there. The other thing I hear you say is trust your bike. Trust your bike, trust your skills. So those are like awesome mindset pieces to have when you're out there. And I mean, just following you guys, I tried to close my eyes for a second. May or may not have been like crying, like inspirational cries, watching you guys blaze down the trail. But when I was, you know, trying to close my eyes, I'm like, man, that is amazing. Scary and hard, but stoked at the end. We were just having so much fun.
Yeah, I know.
So on this part, let's talk a little bit about trail talk, huh? Let's talk about where does Blake and Eric like to ride? Where, if we're out there in the wild, where would we catch you guys riding your local spots?
Yeah, our local trail is pretty much Double Peak in San Marcos. That's just where we've ridden the most, and you know, it's nothing too crazy. It's just a lot of just rocky, chunky, steep stuff, with steep climbs too. Makes every climb everywhere else easy. And you know, we still got our little jump trail and whatnot, but it's just that's our spot. Like we ride Vail and we're like, what are these flowy trails designed for mountain biking? Actually, like this is crazy. That's the local stuff.
That's great. And are you guys part of those? Did you guys help build those trails out, or are they just the local trails in your area that you guys ride the most often?
Yeah, there's certain trails, or kind of like one trail pretty much, that I've like spent a lot of time digging on. Other stuff is not really stuff you would really want to dig on. And then I've been trying to teach Eric how to do some digging too.
That's awesome. That's great. And we were also talking about your bikes. What kind of bikes are you guys riding on these trails?
Yeah, so I ride the Specialized Enduro. It's like the 2015, and it gets the job done. Like I'm so happy with the bike, and I love just how the suspension, how slacked out it is. Just got my wide tires, and like it performs super well. And Yeah, I definitely can trust that thing for sure. And it's been through a lot.
Yeah, right now I'm on a Norco range. It's a 29er, and it just is a monster. It's like a classic, like long travel 29er, and that thing will just handle anything that you throw at it, basically. So it's not the most fun getting up the trail, but it's worth it on the way down.
Yeah, that climb. On the trails, the trail dogs are asking, what's a feature that you guys have had the hardest time with? Is there one specific one?
Eric, you take this first. Just curious to
I'd say jumps, at least from my perspective, because like if you're sending a jump, it's like speed is everything. Like you're thinking to yourself, okay, how fast do I need to go? Okay, I see where this takeoff is, and maybe I get another crank in, maybe I like, whatever, release the brakes a little more. There's so much like speed judgment. And me being a guide, like I try to keep Blake as close behind me as I can, but if I'm going over a jump, like I don't want to case it. So I'm like trying to go as fast as I can too. So it's been like so many times where I get over this jump and I look back and like Blake just, lost me kind of far up, and then it's hard to catch up. So I'd say like timing on jumps and like maintaining, you're trying to go really fast and stay close to each other has been tough, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd agree, especially like trying to like, it's just so hard to accelerate and go fast, because the faster I go, the consequences get way higher, where maybe I'm on the right line, but it just takes a split second to go slightly off and you snap a visor or something. And like, but for jumps, like, we're never going to do like a double. Like, I don't know, I feel like a step down is kind of nice when the trail just kind of drops out from below you. The landing's like super forgiving. But like, like I feel like that drop jump at the bottom of the jump trail we did, like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's at the end of one of my videos I made, like, and there's certain things where I know like I just have to like let the ground fall out from below me, but it takes a lot of like tries. And yeah, everything has their hardest part, but I feel like jumps is the most to it. Like I feel like the day we rode Big Bear and like rode Party Wave all day, like at Snow Summit, like that was like the craziest day of riding, to where I was like, but yeah, that's a whole other story, but definitely jumps.
Wow. For those of you folks that are just jumping on here on the live, or you guys, Blake is legally blind, and we're talking about jumps and all these different features out on the trails, which is amazing. And the dropout that he was just talking about is at Vale. So at the end of Tunnel of Love, there's this log drop. You have to go through this rock garden, and you make a hard left turn, and you log drop down, and then you go across, and you actually can jump over the trail that's on the next ridge over. And Blake, we were looking at it, and Eric, you're really good. You kind of already know his skill set, so you kind of have an idea that he can do this, and you're like, I think you could do this. And then Blake, tell us what you do. You basically, to check out the feature, you you walk it, right?
Yeah, just like certain things like that, where like if I can walk it, I can feel with my feet the slope at which I'm gonna like be landing on. And it's fun. Like sometimes all of my worst crashes or falls of the day are like I go to check out a drop and I walk to the end of it, and I've just like walked off the end and just fall down like the rocks. It's just stupid.
It's
But
not even
like,
bike related, it's more hiking related.
yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, I feel like they were just like walked it, felt the slope of it, which was helpful, and just to know like the turn leading up to it. And then there was like that like younger kid that was like about to do it that came by, and I'm like, dang, like this kid's doing it, like I gotta go do this.
Always the little kids, man.
That little shredder was gonna send it, and you're like, well, I'm signed up now.
Yeah.
That was funny.
It's like, dang.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, you're like, man, that was awesome. I felt my stomach going up in my throat.
Yeah. Just like
Uh,
going off. I'm just like, where's the ground? Where's the ground?
yeah. It was cool too, because with Eric being in the front, you can kind of hear his bike, that the sound of the hub in the air, that
Yeah.
zzz, and then the contact to the ground. But
Yep.
when he's contacting the ground, you're still in the air. So there's definitely that level of trust and skill and everything. But man, that was really cool to see. Ride with Chris wants to ask a question about the bikes that you guys are on. So he did an episode with film producer Aaron Lutzi on the show, and they talked about the progression of the sport. How has the modern riding influenced how you build or shape a trail? Going back to the trails.
Just the trail itself.
Yeah. How has the modern riding influenced how you build or shape a trail?
Yeah. I feel like it's just so interesting just seeing the progression of riding, where, like there's such a like wave of mountain biking now. And I feel like years ago when I was getting more into it, there's like it's another like wave of mountain biking. And it's like, the one way is interesting. Like, I feel like the bar just continues to be raised. So it just pushes you to like want to like achieve more. And you just see more what's possible. And just try to, I don't know, I always try to like take inspiration where you see other places where I'm just like, man, like I wish we just had a bit wider of trails, a bit more flow, a bit more just like tabletops, in places where like just having YouTube where you can like look all across the world at places that have been doing this for much longer. And you'd be like, man, like that, it'd be nice to ride there for that reason and this place for that reason. So like, how can I like piece those together in my riding here? But I know that answers the question, but just to throw
Yeah, that's great, man. That's good. How about you, Eric? Any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything more than Blake.
Yeah.
I think it's just more like, you watch Red Bull Rampage or you watch something and then you're like, oh, well, that trail in my backyard, like I need to just go send it. Like after you see people doing stuff, you can't. You're just like everything that you ride just shrinks. You're like, okay, I can do this stuff if that guy can do that.
Yeah. That's true, man. It's like to an extent, it was like when us as humans were trying to run under the 4-minute mile. Was it the 4-minute mile? They were trying to run that, and nobody could do it until one person did it. And once one person did it, then a bunch of people did it thereafter.
Yes.
MTV Rad Dad is asking you guys a question here. It says, "Where's the next place you really want to ride at?"
Oh, I know my answer. Yeah. What would you say, Eric? I want to hear what Eric would say.
I would say Santa Cruz, probably. Yeah. Like I've ridden some trails in Santa Cruz just without Blake, and it's one of those spots. So specifically, I would go to the flow trail, and we would just rip all those berms and stuff. That would be awesome. Because I got to do it without Blake, and then I come home and I'm like, Blake, there's all these amazing trails in Santa Cruz. We have to go, and we haven't done it yet. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, then we could hit up Specialized HQ up there.
Yeah.
I would do just Sky Park. I still haven't been, and I want to hit some flowy jump trails with forgiving tabletops. I hear too much about it. I'm like, I need to go. But we'll get up there soon for sure.
Man, there's a bunch of us going up to Sky Park this Saturday, the 24th. We're heading up to Sky Park, and their jump line, it's been a while since I've been, but their jump line, if I remember right, was pretty forgiving, meaning that there wasn't like any big deep gaps, but anyone else on the show tonight, help me reinforce that or correct me if that's not right on the Neverland jump line. But if you're free, we're heading up there this Saturday if you can make it work. But anyways, it's not going anywhere. We have plenty of time to hit up, so that is cool. Santa Cruz and Sky Park. So Blake, let's get a little bit deeper into your story. And Eric, I know you had a short window tonight, so if you needed to jump, it's all good whenever you needed to go. But I appreciated having you on. you are definitely the writer partner of the year. So thanks for all you do, and it's nice to meet you, Eric.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, super cool hearing all your perspective on stuff too, Eric. Like, it's awesome. This is super cool to be doing together. So, yeah.
All right, have fun.
See ya.
See you, Eric. All right, Blake. So we're talking a little about trail talk and talking about some of the places that you'd like to go ride trails. Let's get a little bit deeper into the Blake story, because man, you're an inspirational dude, because I know a lot of this happened in your formidable years, right? 16, 17, 18. I know that was tough. I know that diagnosis, just talking to you, it was really rough. Can you take us through a little bit about that time and what you did to kind of become who you are today? There's something that shifted there to help you create this person you are today, which is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would love to kind of just like fill in other parts of my story if that works.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like super long story short, like, when I was first hit with my diagnosis, it wasn't, I wasn't like hit with like, oh, it was like super depressing. You kind of this like shock to where you question so many things in your life. And I'd say the top things in no particular order necessarily are just how am I going to keep up playing sports, like playing hockey, which was a huge passion of mine. How am I going to keep up in school? How are we going to keep up in like, would I be able to get a job? Would someone want to marry me one day? Like, could I be in a relationship still? All these things that I wasn't unsure, because I then realized were certain like preconceived notions or stereotypes I put on other people with disabilities, or other people who are visually impaired that I didn't even realize. And I think with that, it was shocking. And it was a time where, you want some slack cut, and, people at school, like where I would be like, I remember talking to an administrator and being like, like, so my grades are going to suffer, right? Like, I can't keep up in these intense classes that I take. And they're like, nope, like, you're just going to do them a different way. And we're going to connect you with people that are going to be helpful. Like, there's people who are called teachers for the visually impaired, who I would work with for like an hour every day to learn Braille, to learn technology that I depend on. And like, I'd like relearn how to do school while keeping up competitively junior and senior year, to then keep up and go to college. But throughout this time with school and so many other things, when I wanted slack cut, people through school, friends of mine, having a strong church community that I'm thankful that I've been around, that, was there to support me and remind me that like I can have joy through these hard times, and that there's more to this life than just like this world and all the things that like can be taken, even if that like is like my vision. And my family just continued to support me, and there's so much behind the scenes to where you could see a lot of the things I do, and like it's like seems so cool or not that big of a deal, but people don't see the hours I've spent with my family members, taking way too long on homework assignments to keep up in school, the hours that my family has spent with me trying to continue to ride, trying to continue to play hockey. But it's been an amazing thing, like just to share about like hockey real quick. Hockey was like, like team sport, love hockey, like individual thing, mountain biking. Like that was kind of like, as I grew up, what I kind of like fell into. And I thought I was done playing hockey. And long story short, I heard about blind hockey, which is an adapted version of ice hockey for people who are blind or visually impaired. And I heard about it and I was like, nope, like I don't want to play with people with a disability. That's not for me. And that's just what I thought. And like, man, was I wrong? I ended up being able to check it out, and just fell in love with the game, and ended up connecting with so many people who had similar stories to myself, who grew up playing hockey, and then lost their vision. And how blind hockey basically works is like the puck's going to be like a lot bigger. It's thicker and metal. It has ball bearings inside of it, and it's like hollow, so it rattles a lot. And as it moves around, it's easier to see because it's bigger, black, has contrast on the white ice, moves slower, and you just like interpret the sounds of the puck as it bangs around the ice. And then there's simple things like you got to make one clean pass once you're on sides, and then the ref will blow an electronic whistle. You could shoot on net to help control the flow of the game. Goalies have to be completely blind, and the net is a foot shorter, and they just do a phenomenal job of tracking the puck by listening to it. And yeah, I feel like I'm playing the same game just with the adjustments I need. And a couple of years ago, the sport grew enough in the US and Canada to start national teams. And I was able to try out and make it on the team and play on the US national blind hockey team for the past couple of years now. And you know, it's insane to go from thinking I'm done playing the sport to now playing at an elite level. And you know, it's fun to play at an elite level because you play super competitively, you represent your country. But like, you know, what does it mean for me to represent my country? And for me, it looks like growing the sport to more people, and to be like to an inspiration to other people who are visually impaired. And it's amazing to see just the societal impact that it has. And seeing the sport, you know, now grow where we want it to become a Paralympic sport, because that'd be awesome to play in the Paralympics, but it's also so that we can get more countries involved and more people of any skill level, any vision level to play. Because like the NHL does such a good job of like that hockey is for everybody, no matter your ability. I think the biking community is so cool how it's inclusive as well. And it's just amazing for me because like all these things I do, like I'm a product of my teammates and what they've shown me, where, yeah, it's crazy I mountain bike, but I have teammates who have done crazier things like bull riding. Like it's insane what others do. And so, you know, it's amazing to keep up as an athlete there, and to now be like where I feel like that's where like, well, that's where so much of my time goes. And a lot of people know me for hockey. And mountain biking was, you know, I think it's good to have another activity in combination with biking. Like it's so good to supplement training, but also just to keep your body moving in other ways, and just staying in shape for other things as well. And it's cool for this to like, where a lot of times I was like, why am I still mountain biking after all this, like just so much crashing? I'm like, what the heck is the point of it? Like, who's telling me I have to do this? Like, you know, nobody is. And I need to stop thinking I need to prove myself to anybody else. And I'm not going to be the rider I was before. And I need to accept that. But it's like cool stuff like this, where it's like, dang, like seeing mountain biking evolving is more of like part of my story, just as much as like hockey is as well. And it's been cool just to kind of like tie things back together, like with school. Like school is probably like definitely the hardest part of my story, where I attribute a lot of the reasons I'm like good at mountain biking is because I've developed patience through school. Where the amount of time that it would take me to do assignments, where school is not hard for me in terms of content. Like I was like graduated magna cum laude, like great grades. That wasn't the problem. It was making the like schoolwork accessible. You know, I'd spend so much longer than my peers, or I would stay up late at night just like researching how could I make things more accessible. And it takes a lot of patience and a lot of like holding your fist back from punching your computer. Like, you know, when you want to just like chuck your computer off the roof, but you develop that patience. And I feel like that translates into other areas of my life where like it's going to take me a lot of times to do something I might want to do on the trail, but just got to do it over and over. And I'm going to crash, going to make mistakes. And I think there's like, it goes both ways, like this overlap. But, you know, super thankful to have like graduated school a semester early with my degree in marketing and minor in Spanish. Just super thankful for that. because it's hard. And then to now like be working, doing something I love. I've been working for Tasco. And for those who unfortunately may not know, we make some awesome mountain biking gear, and it's amazing to be able to work in the industry and something I'm passionate about and went to school for. Because at the end of the day, like one of the biggest things that pushes me to live my life and that like is heavy on my heart is like 70% of people who are of working age and are legally blind are unemployed. Um, and
Wow.
that's really bad. And it's
70%.
yeah, so it's one, I'm grateful to be working, and two, like I'm grateful to like be in a place where I can like push the limits to what my technology can do, and I want to make a more accessible world for like other people, because it's like blind people, there's like, it's funny, like we're just blind, like that's it. I think we overvalue our vision, but it's like technology can really remove those barriers, and it's only getting better, which is I'm super thankful for. But it's amazing to still be riding and mountain biking, playing hockey, to be keeping up in school, to be working like in the industry, and also like I guess like that last biggest doubt I had was like, shoot, like will someone want to be with me? Why, like, could I get married? And to now like be getting engaged to my fiance Amanda is super special.
Yeah.
And to where that's one of the biggest doubts I've had, and just like how my family has believed in me so much, like she's been someone to like grow my confidence so much to continue to do the things I do. And she can get out there on the trail and ride just as well as me and show me up, which is always fun. But just super thankful for all this, and it's been quite a journey, but just wanted to like connect the dots more with that question.
That's great. I mean, gosh dang, national qualifying for the National Hockey League. National, you represent the United States of America in your sport, which is phenomenal. Obviously, the goal is the Olympics, which you're already working on, and that's phenomenal. I noticed too that there were some links that went back and forth. Are you a spokesperson for hockey?
Yeah. Not necessarily, but it's funny the media opportunities that have come my way. Um, like I've just been, lucky to like go on the NHL network and have different interview with like news and newspapers and whatnot. Um, like not officially, but I try to do the best I can to like be an ambassador for that.
Yeah.
But I think it's up to like all my teammates to do that. Maybe since I don't know. I'm just I try to just say yes when opportunities come up, and people say I speak well. So then they ask me to do something else. So I'm like, sure, like of course. Like I'd rather speak in front of a group of people than try to walk into a situation and like into a group of people, because I can talk to a group no problem. But if I have to go somewhere like in a group, like I can't see people's faces. So it's really hard navigating that and knowing who's who. I think that's like
Gotcha.
probably one of the hardest things I deal with. So I'm like, yeah, I'll speak in front of a camera or a group of people. Like no worries, where they say like, just act like the crowd isn't there. It's like, cool, I can't see them. So it's pretty easy,
William, shoot, you
Yeah.
do a good job, and your story is so inspirational to so many people. It's amazing. In fact, we have my buddy Christian's on the line here. Crisco Bike, he actually wanted to, before you announced that you were engaged, he was actually asking if you would actually date his daughter.
Buddy.
And then
Oh,
Adam Mock said, Adam Mock just was tuning in. He says, does Blake have a sponsor? If not, let's get our guy a sponsor. So, hey, I think you were looking at Specialized, right? Specialized, if anybody is tuning in from Specialized, Blake Steinecke is actually already on a Specialized bike. So,
right. Yeah, it's like, it's definitely cool. Like where like I realize like I'm it 4 million thoughts. Like my life right now is pretty surreal, going from a place of like just marked by hardships and trials that like still I have to deal with, but like to now it's from going from overwhelmed with hardships to now like overwhelmed with joy, like just surreal, all like the things I'm blessed with right now. And I was like, dang, like what is like building my brand look like, especially around biking, and just wanting to like realize like, hey, like I want to, this is such a cool platform to share my story more, and to build more connections, with, different companies that I want to think their product works best for me. And so definitely like working through that for sure.
Yeah. Might have to introduce you to the folks over at YT. They're not too far away, and that's a good company to look at. I mean, I'm partial to them, but
I do have to. I am an ambassador for Outride, which is specialized foundation that they have, which is basically promotes like the positive impacts recycling for youth, and they like give like bikes to middle schools to give kids the opportunities to ride who may not be able to, or just to show students the impact that bikes can have. So it's like it's cool to be connected there, and just trying to I have like wrote an article that they're going to share this sometime soon, but sharing more through there, and just gonna keep growing it and seeing where opportunities lead.
So let's talk about that, because one of the opportunities and one of the doubts that you had when you were going through this at the beginning was, am I going to go through college? And when I do, am I going to be able to get a job? And you threw out the statistic: 70% of folks that are blind are unemployed. And you were able to land a job within the industry. Just so happens to be one of my favorite brands for mountain bike apparel. You landed a job with Tasco. And Crisco Bike was actually asking, how did you get connected and to start with Tasco? So tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Yeah. I get just like preface, like in college, like college is great. Business school is great, but it's like, it's what do you do with that degree? Like what relationships are you building, and what experience are you gaining? Because you need practical experience. So like I worked multiple internships while going to school, and just got as much experience as I could, to like build that professionally, like as quickly as I could, and worked really hard to like network with a lot of people to just process through like, what do I want to do? And also like knowing more and more like, man, like, like God's given me such a crazy story, and it's very random, but like, just where is this going to take me? And I don't want to like, I want to choose the right steps and not like undervalue what I'm capable of. But I try to like prepare myself professionally as much as I could before graduating. And at the end of school and like shortly after I graduated, I was working in sales, and I was like, sales is like not for me, not the side of marketing I would want to go into. And just like long story short, like I, just reached out to Nate because I saw he was hiring for another position, and just talked to him. Like I just kind of knew Nate throughout the years of riding, had like more of a mutual connection, and just kind of like asked him. I just shared where I was at and what I wanted to do, and helped on a couple marketing projects, and just slowly developed that more and more. And as you know, Mark, like Tasco is growing and has grown so much since the pandemic, and we want to grow that to more people, and helping leveraging my skill sets and what I've gained through school and my internships, jobs, and being able to like show that value to Nate and the team at Tasco, and to try to like help grow the marketing there. That's kind of like how I went in, and just got uncomfortable a bit, like just wanted to take on a new challenge, and it's been working out really well. So long story short, that's kind of how I ended up there, but it's so much fun. It's challenging for sure, and it just, I don't know, I couldn't be more thankful, and it's fun doing something I'm passionate about. but it's not for everybody, because sometimes your work just and passion blend too much, where your passion just feels like work. But I'm super thankful for it. And I also wanted to work hard to find something to where whatever task I do, like straight up, it's a lot harder with the limitations of my vision. And so finding something where, low key, I could be sitting at work and like having a really bad headache and be super like just have so much eye fatigue, and be like, to where if I was doing schoolwork before, I'd be like, I'm not really motivated to do this anymore. But since I'm so passionate about it, like it keeps me engaged. That's kind of like long story short.
No, that's good. That's great stuff. I mean, basically, you went out and created your opportunity by leveraging the relationship you had and made it stronger, and then showed the skills that you've collected along the way through all your hard work, and landed a job with Tasco, which is awesome. In fact, I stopped in the other day, kind of surprised you guys at Tasco HQ. I was like, "What's up, guys?" You're checking out some new footage for some of the awesome gloves that are going to be coming out here in the near future. But I noticed your desk was right next to the big boss's desk. You were right next to Mr. Nate Miller, and you had a setup in there. So tell us, what is it that you do for Tasco? Because I thought the setup was really cool. And then when I heard what you did, I thought that was pretty inspirational as well.
Yeah. Just kind of like explain how my technology works a bit.
Yeah. And what, you're on the marketing side, but what are you diving into for Tasco?
Yeah, definitely. I love technology. I've grown such a passion. So just a quick overview is, I've tried a lot of different things, and Apple products hands down work the best. Apple has like the best accessibility. So, I got my iPhone, my iPad, my MacBook Pro. They all go together super well. And so for work, I bring my 16-inch MacBook Pro, and then I connect it to like an LG 4K monitor and like 27 inches. So I like work off the monitor, just a larger screen. And so basically with people who are visually impaired, like there's like you can magnify your screen, you make like text bigger. And then on the other end, there's using a screen reader, which basically the computer like talks out loud what's on the screen, and you control that by using shortcut keys on your keyboard.
Yeah.
And so like there's a kind of a spectrum of like the worse your vision is, you lean more towards a screen reader. The more vision you have, you can just get away more with like magnification and enlarging things. And I'm like kind of in the middle, lean towards more using a screen reader. And I use kind of a combination of like magnifying as well as a screen reader to listen and use shortcut keys as much as I can. And I think Apple does a really good job of allowing the two of those to blend together. But it's nice that I can then bring my MacBook back home and then use my monitor at home as well. But even if I don't have a monitor, the 16-inch MacBook is such a nice big screen, and it's incredibly high resolution to where when I zoom in a lot, it's like not very pixelated. And then I have it on a stand so that I could like pull it up really close to my face, because I have to get really close to the screen. And then I have like a keyboard and mouse below it, so it's like up in my face, and I don't have to like type up here, but I can type down below. But that's kind of like my setup there for work. And then I've been working in marketing, just helping with paid advertising, different things just to help promote the brand online through advertising, to help increase awareness, whether that's like on YouTube or just getting more people to find it when searching for the type of gear that we provide. And then also helping more with just different content strategy, and helping with, diving into helping more with social media. And there's so many different like hats to wear at a small company. There's a lot of different avenues of marketing that I'm able to dive into. And so there's just being like an e-commerce brand, there's so much just data that you have to like comprehend and know what to do with, to get more people to come to the Tasco website and check out what we have, because we're a smaller company, but definitely growing a lot, and we want to be like a rider's brand. and inclusive to all riders. So we want people to want to be a part of that and see the quality gear that we have for people to check out. And so it's my job to really help promote that and increase that exposure, and get more people to grab the stuff we have.
It's amazing when I walked into your office and seeing those monitors, and it's talking to you, and you're doing 2 screens. You got this keyboard thing, and getting in there with all the different e-commerce stuff, and you're like Google Pixel this, and so technical. I'm like, Blake, I'm going to leave you in here to do your thing. I'm going to go check out what kind of products are in the warehouse.
Yeah, it makes a little more sense back there. Yeah.
Yeah, but amazing. So many times I remind myself, like, man, Blake is legally blind, but like you said earlier, you're blind, but it's not who you are, meaning that that's not the big thing. You're doing so many things that are amazing, and that's part of your story, the blindness. Yeah. But I have to, like you said earlier, with the stereotypes and things like that, when I see you in action, I'm so motivated and blown away, but at the same time, I see how hard you work at these things. I know this doesn't come easy. This is a lot of time behind the scenes trying to make things work, and it's just inspiring to see it in action. And kudos to you, man, for getting over there and doing great work with Tasco. That is awesome.
I appreciate you saying that, because there's a weird thing with a disability, like where having a disability, you can quickly be defined by what you can't do. But I appreciate when people see all the things that I can do, but balance where, I want to see people to see the strengths I have, but also want to understand the challenges that I face. So I appreciate like your perspective on that. And I feel like, and I also just want to make blindness, like, it can be a positive thing. Like it's not a death sentence to your independency, and you can still do so much. You do it a different way. And I think my biggest thing is I have to deal with is like people just not understanding. And I don't let the frustration of that overtake my life. But I think just we need to ask questions to people, because questions, I feel like, are the bridges that understanding will travel on. Because, we think like, oh my gosh, like they have a disability, like they're in a wheelchair, they're using a cane, they're blind, like, what do I say? And we end up saying nothing. And then the person on the other hand feels misunderstood, isolated, just alone. And I think we'd be surprised where if we just ask a question to somebody, ask broadly, ask gently, curiously, like it means a lot. So I just wanted to reinforce, like, I appreciate the perspective that you set, like just as a friend and just like with this conversation.
Oh man, you got it. It's you're an amazing individual, Mr. Blake. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful to be your friend. We're a little over an hour right now, and I just popped up. Tasco just popped up on the screen. Tasco MTV. I think the big boss is on the line. What's happening, Mr. Nate Miller? If that's you behind the Tasco logo right there. Your ears must have been burning. We were just talking about all the great things that Blake is doing over at Tasco. Blake, to end it off, I usually ask, some funny questions to get the perspective of the guest. But I think today, I definitely want to have you back on the show, but I think today, where this conversation is going, I really want to get this question out there. And it would be, here you are now today. You have been interviewed a lot for the national hockey team. You represent the United States of America in hockey, in blind hockey, and you're going for the Paralympics as your goal. You're a kick butt mountain biker, and you blaze down those trails with no excuses. You are doing so many great things. What would the Blake of today tell the Blake of the 16-year-old Blake that just got diagnosed? What would you tell that Blake?
Jeez, yeah. No, that's a heavy question. I think I used to like never reflect on what's going on, because I think it would have just like eaten me up emotionally. When you look at the reality of what you're going through, so like to look back and like think of myself there, it's like, oh my gosh. I think it sounds like cheesy, but like I would just say, like, dude, like you can totally do it. I'm just gonna say like a couple of things.
Yeah,
Because
please.
I say this to someone who I talked to who would be recently diagnosed with my condition. Like where I'd say I'd like, dude, you can totally do it. It's gonna be way harder than you think. The challenges that you're gonna face are gonna be not the challenges that, like, the hardest things you expect, or the things that you expect are gonna be the hardest. It's not gonna be those things. It's gonna be something different. Like you might think it's gonna be hard not being able to drive and get around, but like you're not gonna know what it's like to not see people's faces and people's facial expressions, like something like that.
Mm.
Just you don't know what to expect. You're not going to know how to figure out certain things, but you just know you're going to be able to know there is a way that you will be able to figure out. Like just take it one step at a time. I would tell myself to use the technology that I use right now because man, was that a rough time to get to it. And, I would just like, yeah, and at the end of the day, I would tell myself like, your biggest struggle is not going to be like with your vision. Like, you need to realize like that there's other brokenness in your life, and you need to like cling to God in those times, and you need to realize what Jesus has done in your life, and to where your biggest struggle is not your sight. Like it's that you need a savior to lean on, because you've operated under this illusion that you have control of things in your life. You think your identity is in your performance of like the sports that you play, and it's not, and you don't have as much control as you think. And just at the end of it is like you're gonna find incredible joy through these hard times. Just like be ready for a fun ride. Yeah, there's so much I would say.
That's
Yeah.
no, that is great. I mean, that's just a wonderful thing to share with the Blake of today. Blake, if people want to continue to follow your story and see what you do next, see if you make the Olympic team and everything else that's going good for you, your engagement that's going to be into the wedding, how and where would people follow your story?
Yeah. No, it's a good question to ask, because it convicts me to be like, dang, I need to be better at sharing this. Because like right now, social media wise, I'm only on LinkedIn. I sound hilarious for my age saying that. But if you ever want to talk to me, just call the Tasco office, and I'll let you know what's up. No,
There
but
you
you can
go.
also find, keep checking out what we're doing at Tasco, looking up the USA National Blind Hockey Team, just following the team on social media is a great way to stay in touch. And yeah, just keep an eye out, because I'm sure I'm gonna. This is just keep nudging me to get back on social media more, to be a good steward of the story and influence I've been given. But yeah, I'm still processing that.
Yeah, you got a lot of good things going on, but you've had to work
Right.
really hard to get there, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. I just wanted to put this comment up for everybody else, and then I'm going to read this one to you. It says, "This is from Bill and Lori Steinecke." It says, "This guy is amazing. So honored to have walked alongside of him on this journey. We learn from him every day." Is that mom and dad?
Yeah, that is.
That is awesome. Hey, mom and dad. Blake, it's been amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on the segment and just inspiring so many people that are listening to the live and that will be listening to the audio podcast in days, weeks, years to come. I really appreciate you, Blake. Blake Steinecke, National Hockey League for the United States of America, works at Tasco, bad mamma jamma mountain biker. You'll see him blazing down the trails there in San Marcos. And congratulations again on your engagement. Blake, you're an inspiration to us all, buddy. Thank you so much for
Thanks so
being
much.
here.
Of course. See you on the trail soon.
See you guys out there on the trails. Blake and I are out. You.